Welcome to the Heavy Spoilers Show. I'm your host Paul, and in this video I'm joined by Jared to talk about where we want to see a sequel to Prey go. We stan, she slay, we hope, we pray, we get a Prey too, so we can follow Naru all day.
But I'm not a rapper.
As I'm sure you can guess, we love the movie, so I thought we'd break down exactly where we want to see things going in the future. If you have your own ideas, then make sure you drop them below, and don't forget to subscribe for videos like this every day. Without the way, huge thank you for clicking this. Jared, where you at?
Thanks, chump. Paul. Now, the closing credits of Prey sets up an interesting tease for Prey 2, showing Naru and her tribe turn to the sky and see Predator ships approaching. Now, whether or not a sequel will happen remains unknown, but with the positive reviews and word of mouth, it seems inevitable. However, when and where this sequel takes place is an interesting wrinkle for sure. Director Dan Trachtenberg said in an interview with Sci-Fi Wire and Time Out, "We have lots of thoughts. How could we ever turn off the thoughts about fun and exciting things? But certainly what was really exciting about the credit sequence was what would be in any other movie, an end tag, a live action tag in addition to the credits, that our end credit sequence actually has a story point in it, I think is really awesome. There are a lot of exciting ideas for what could be next for the franchise. The things that most excite me are the boldest swings, and I think there's scope to do things that haven't been done before. So from Trachtenberg's statements, the Predators do in fact return at the end of the film. We just don't see it in, a traditional sense of, well, MCU post-credit stingers.
So with this limited information, we can turn to the thing that connects Prey to the later Predator films, specifically Predator 2. That's the flintlock pistol, sporting the name Raphael Adolinis, dated 1715. Obviously, this is the pistol Naru is in possession of at the end of Prey, but also, if you don't know, this is the same pistol that's gifted to Harrigan at the end of Predator 2. This came from the greyback Predator, meaning that somehow he got it from Naru. Now, before this was sort of retconned by Prey, the story of the pistol was told through a 1997 Dark Horse comic called Predator 1718. This featured the character Raphael Adolinis, and essentially, he was a pirate that had his munitions crew turn on him. He teamed up with a greyback Predator to fight them off, and all seemed well until a Strangler crew member shot Adolinis in the back. In his final few moments, he gifted the pistol to the Predator as a sign of friendship and faith, and that is how the weapon showed up in Predator 2. It was a trophy in a sense, but in many ways it was also a sign of their allegiance. Now, another example of this good faith practice is briefly shown by the Predators in 2004's AVP, where they make an alliance out of mutual respect. I think it'll be very difficult to explain how the greyback Predator was given the pistol, lost it to some French fur traders, and then it wound up with Naru all in a year's time. So my guess is that the Predator 1718 comic storyline is more than likely retcon, but we could see things hinted at in a future film. However, most studios are normally like, F them comics though, so it's probably a goner unless they're struggling for plot ideas in the future. I do think that the pistol will pop up time and time again though, and potentially they could use it as this cool little thing that constantly connects all the movies together. You could have the species come down and take it from Naru, then we could get another film where someone ends up taking it from them, they get it back and basically play Passy the Parcel across the next couple of centuries. Could be like the Star Wars Disney Plus stuff where they keep trying to squeeze as much as they can out of that time between Revenge and A New Hope, and we might end up getting it constantly showing up throughout the timeline.
Now with the Predators returning to Earth, there are a handful of different ways that this could play out, some more exciting than others, one of which could simply be the Predators coming back to pick up their friend, discover he was bested by Naru, and be like, "Ah man, Jimmy didn't make it," and fly off to another planet.
That's all, folks.
That's probably not the way that anyone wants to see a follow-up to Prey go down, so instead the Predators arrive back to Earth, discover their friend has been bested, and search for answers to whom or what is behind this. Following their methodology of moving up the food chain will lead them to the Comanche and Naru. With the Predators still building upon an established code of honor, they instead will enact revenge against Naru, where the full might of the Comanche, led by Naru, will go up against a handful of Predators. This could set up a cool cat and mouse approach similar to 2010's Predators or 2004's AVP, where each predator will be baited into a different terrain or scenarios by the Comanche, using their intellect, tracking skills, herbs, and more to go up against the predator's more advanced weaponry. For example, the ships are going to be a huge headache for the bows, arrows, and spears of the Comanche, but the herb that cools their blood and hides their body heat is essentially a bare-bones version of the predator's camouflage, which will help them bypass their stronger tactics if, in fact, they do use their ships.
And as we've learned from Prey, along with the original 1987 Predator movie, the back-to-basics, primitive approach to warding off the predators has proven time and time again to be the best way to go about it. The reason is so obvious, because the predators are too reliant on some of their technology and have forgotten how a prey will react in certain situations. Boiling it down to its most basic points, animal instincts are what Naru and Dutch used to best the predator. They blended in with their environment, used bows and spears that didn't carry a heat signature, and also found their own ways to make themselves invisible. The bare-bones strategy binds them with their environment, using it to their favour. Now this in turn could also lead to another final showdown with Naru and one of the predators. Going back and forth, they could hit a point where it's communicated with the alien that Naru was responsible for the first predator's fate. Witnessing her fighting skills, that predator could then develop the mutual respect culture that we've seen in the later films. On the other hand, I could see them somewhat adapting the Raphael Adolinis storyline from the Dark Horse comics, where the predators come back, discover Naru, and see there's this third-party threat to both her people and also the predators. For example, even more fur traders and frontiersmen could arrive, causing Naru and the predators to actually team up. In the skirmish, Naru could be unfortunately killed off, and in her last moments, she might give the pistol to the predator. This would be much like Raphael Adolini in the comics, and it would explain how the weapon made its way to Predator 2.
Now, if they take more of a bold approach, like Trachtenberg mentioned in his interview, and do not go with a direct sequel to Prey, and instead do a bit of a time jump, i.e. Predator to Predator 2, there is a 300-year span of places the Predator could wind up. They could even drop in before that time era. I mean, who am I to make these rules? Now, I'm not saying we pull a Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure version of the Predator, even though seeing the Predators hunt through time like the opening credits of X-Men Origins Wolverine would be pretty cool. But imagine a predator is dropped off to hunt in the middle of feudal Japan, the Viking Age, the Bill Cosby Show. Okay, maybe not that last one, but there's plenty of primitive lore and time eras that the predator could be exposed to. If I were to guess time, era, or event, I would potentially say World War I or World War II, solely based off of a clue that is again hidden in Predator 2. When Harrigan is given the flintlock pistol, if we zoom in to the wrist of the elder predator right before he tosses over the pistol, you can catch an insignia for the United States 2nd Infantry Division. This division was formed all the way back in 1917 and was active through World War I, World War II, and as recent as the Iraq War. So the elder predator who visited Naru in the 1700s, grabbing the pistol as a trophy, could have easily visited European countries and a World War I battlefield, potentially hunting both the Allies and the Central Powers, with one of the soldiers from the 2nd Infantry Division either besting a predator or having teamed up with him, similar to the Raphael Adolini or Naru situation, then dying in the predator's arms, gifting the predator with their insignia as a trophy of good faith, much like the pistol.
What I love about the Predator franchise is that the series has the potential to be full of visits to the past. They're creatures that could have popped up in major places throughout history, and there's so much potential here for them to constantly show up. Anyway, that's where we'd love to see things go in the future, and obviously we'd also love to hear your thoughts on where you think things are going to go to. Comment below and let me know, and just to let you know, we're running a competition right now and giving away 3 copies of Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness on the 15th of August. All you have to do to be on the chance of winning is like the video, make sure you subscribe with notifications on, and drop a comment below with your thoughts and theories. We pick the comments at random on the 15th, and the winners of the last one are on screen right now, so if that's you, message me on Twitter at HeavySpoilers. If you want something else to watch, then make sure you check out our breakdown of Prey, which will be linked on screen right now. We talk about the pistol's origins in way more detail, and also go over the film's plot. If not, thanks for sticking through the video, hope you enjoyed it. I've been Paul, he's been Jared, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care, peace.